What's going on, you guys? This is All Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you guys another Ghost Recon Breakpoint video. So with this video I'm going to be giving you is going to be a video on all the perk points, basically ranking them, not necessarily ranking them, but just explaining which ones I would recommend getting first and which ones I would get later on. Because eventually you will unlock them all, and you will have a ton of perk points left over, or skill points left over. But this is just a video on to tell you which active perks you should go for first, because these will make your gameplay just so much better. So let's go ahead and go right into it. So as you can see, I have 20 skill points left over, but I have everything here unlocked. So first thing you're going to want to do is obviously you're going to want to pick and choose which class you go with first, or you can technically go with all four because it only costs 1 point to pick one. But you can just go ahead and choose one of your liking. Sharpshooter, the Armor Buster class technique basically gives you a giant damage boost to your weapon, but preferably a sniper, but it will basically enhance your damage and allow you to push a lot more damage. And it only works on the sharpshooter. The Panther with Cloak and Run, it doesn't make you invisible to all the enemies. Or no, never mind. I'm talking about the cloak spray. But Cloak and Run makes you basically invisible to all the enemies, including drones, for a certain duration. It's about like 5 or 10 seconds, but you can basically kill enemies while in stealth. You can just go right back into stealth. So getting stealth kills while using Cloak and Run is really easy and is really fun. True Grit on the Assault basically lets you heal, get a nice damage resistance and recoil reduction. It doesn't stack up, it doesn't keep getting higher and higher, but it does extend the duration every time you do get a kill. So you can basically go berserk using this build, or using this True Grit. And then the Field Medic, you can basically revive your allies or revive yourself with a healing drone. So the abilities, all the abilities that you have are going to be pretty useful and pretty useless. So Gorilla, if you enjoy using shotguns, Gorilla is going to be amazing to use. I was using this when I was running the Assault class, and just this perk alone is so good because you get a giant health regen speed, and you get a giant amount of damage resistance every time you hit a certain amount of enemies. So if you hit 10 enemies, or you just hit an enemy 10 times, you get 100% damage resistance. Now, I don't know if there's an actual cap to the shotgun, or to all of this damage resistance and health regen, but I would assume there isn't. And it's pretty crazy. You could basically run around going berserk with the True Grit and the shotgun damage, or the Gorilla perk. Next is Sixth Sense. So would I recommend Gorilla? Yeah, I would, if you enjoy using shotguns, if you are a shotgun player and someone who likes to rush. Now, Sixth Sense, is Sixth Sense worth using? I had debated about it a few times because it didn't seem to be so great, but if you have a weapon that also has plus 10, plus 15, plus 25 meters on auto marking, it stacks up with this. So if you have a plus 25 or plus 20 on your weapon for the auto marking, and then you get your Sixth Sense, that is going to allow you to see enemies from a further distance, which is going to auto mark them, and it helps so much. And then you're always going to hear a clicking noise, like, so every time you hear that, you know an enemy's nearby, and you can just look around and you can see them through walls or whatever, and it's really awesome. Now, would I recommend it for someone's first time? Maybe not. It's probably something you would want to use maybe if you're playing on extreme difficulty, but if you're not, then I wouldn't really worry about it too much. It's not something that's essential that'll help you damage-wise, but it will help you survival-wise. Pistolero. This one, I mean, it looks great. 20% extra damage. You get a reduced 20% technique cooldown, which technique is your class abilities, and 40% extra XP bonus. I didn't really like this though. I tried it. I wasn't a fan of it. The damage didn't seem noticeable enough for me, because headshots anyways are one shot kill. Body shots are basically 2, 3, 4 shots. So yeah, Pistolero would be something I would recommend getting last because it's just not something that I think is worth putting points into. Ballistic Advantage. So Ballistic Advantage is pretty good because it gives you a really high range stat and handling stat. So the range can definitely help out if you're trying to go for, if you're playing the sharpshooter and you're trying to get that 250-meter headshot kill or that 400-meter kill in general. Ballistic Advantage can definitely help out a lot. Plus that 30 handling, and yeah, so if you, I mean, this is if you play, a sharpshooter. Even assault, it's still pretty good because of that extra handling. You don't necessarily need the range, but the handling, even the range, I guess, on the shotgun would go even further. But in general, the handling is going to be helpful for a lot of different classes. Now, would I recommend using this over anything else? Probably not. I wouldn't worry about it right now, but just know that it does help a lot stat-wise, because it is a pure stat ability. Revivalist. Revivalist is going to be super awesome because you get a 40% damage resistance and 20% extra movement speed. Obviously, if you play a field medic, this is something you want to go for because you get a quicker class technique with the when you revive an enemy or an ally, and also you're getting these buffs when an ally is down. So you can easily go into your healing drone or your medic drone and revive an ally while you have that extra buff, that 40% extra damage resistance. Also, if you want, you can manually, or if you have to, you can manually revive them because you have a really quick revive, and you get that extra movement speed and damage resistance. So this is something I would highly recommend getting, especially if you are playing as a field medic. Inspired. So Inspired is alright. I wouldn't really recommend going for it first. It sounds good on paper, but it's really not that great when I tried it. Because you have to rely on your allies getting kills so you can get your health back, and two, you don't really get a lot of health back as well. You'd be better off going on getting something else instead of this. But it's not a terrible perk, but it's not something I would really focus on getting. I don't even use this when I play for my field medic anyways. Recon Mastery. For every enemy marked with your drone, you get 15% technique cooldown and 50 or plus 50 XP gain. Not really worth going for because the plus 50 XP gain isn't that noticeable anyways, and I mean it's plus 50 for every enemy that's marked. But I didn't care for this. This is good for like a XP booster, but it isn't something you should really go for in general because, like I said, the XP boost is not that noticeable of a difference at all. Especially when you complete missions, you're getting like 1500 to 2000 XP. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so Gunslinger. Gunslinger, I haven't really put this one to the max of its testing, but it seems pretty good. It works somewhat in the same sense that Gorilla does. Every time you hit the enemy, you get an increase in the stats, so you get an increase in accuracy and handling. But, I don't think you would really need to worry about going for this because it takes one shot, sometimes two shots, to kill an enemy in the head, and that doesn't really require much accuracy or handling. Now, unless you're gonna hold down your shoot or your shot, then maybe this would be worth using, but I don't think it's worth going for first. Probably somewhere near the last, I would go for it. Explosive Expert. I mean, this can be worth going for, but the thing about explosives is you're limited on explosives. They're not ammo that you can just regenerate over time. You have to actually go and find the explosives or go repurchase them. So yes, the stats on Explosives Expert is great. It's really good. 20% more explosive damage, throw range, and items area of effect is all good. But it's just the fact that you won't be able to actually get this consistently is gonna make it an issue. Like, for example, if you have to go and you're let's say you're playing PvP. Explosives expert wouldn't necessarily be amazing for you because one, enemies can just roll out the grenades, and the rocket launcher isn't that big of a area of effect. Yeah, you do get a 20% increase, but it's still not going to be big enough to really kill the enemies outright unless you get it like near direct hit. But in my opinion, I just wouldn't really go for explosives expert right away. Probably till later, obviously. Next is Coldblooded. Definitely one of the best perks to go for. Coldblooded regenerates your heal, or regenerates your health by 100%. You're getting double the amount of regen speed. And then you're also getting a regen delay of minus 30%. Don't take that as in like you're losing a bonus or something. What 30% or minus 30% regen delay means is it takes less time for your health to start regenerating. So 30% less time to regenerate is really good, and you get double the amount of healing done to you, which is even better. So it'll be easier for you to like go run from one area to cover and then start healing like crazy. This has saved my life multiple times when I went against the Behemoth, when I went against like different forts and areas and whatnot. It helped a lot. So I would definitely go for this if you can get it. Next up is going to be Burst Forth. So Burst Forth is going to be awesome because you get an increase in movement speed by 10%, but you get a regen of your stamina regen by 50%. So the 10% doesn't sound like much, but you'll see a huge difference in your movement speed right away. And your stamina will regenerate so quick, so it makes it easy for you to actually get out of harm's way because of how quick you're moving and how much stamina you're regenerating. So this is something I would definitely look into getting if you are someone who, I mean, just in general, this is good for all classes in general. It's a general perk. So I would definitely get this. Pack Meal. So you get an increase of 40% max ammo and 10% ammo pickup increase. This does help, but I don't necessarily think you would actually need it because I never really ran out of ammo in general. I never had an ammo issue. Yeah, and I mean, I've cleared multiple different camps and forts, whatever, without pack meal. I've used pack meal a few times, and never really actually needed it. Now, for the next one is going to be Sensor Hack. Sensor Hack is so good. I would definitely recommend getting this because, one, you get a 30% increase in drone evasion, which means the Behemoth, the regular flight, like little flying drones, the ones that hover around and zoom all over the place, they can't see you. They have a 30% chance of, or not 30% chance, but 30% harder time of finding you, basically. And you also get 10% increase to damage to drones, which is going to be awesome because you can get weapons that can get 16% damage to drones. Even the SVD can get a built-in stat base of about 30% damage to drones just right off the bat, which is crazy. And there are other weapons just like that. So, you know, having Sensor Hack is going to be really good. It's something I would highly recommend going for first because, or one of the first few perks you can go for because of the fact that you're going to be going against drones a lot. Drone Hunter. So Drone Hunter is actually really awesome. It works for both you and all your teammates, and what it does is obviously it heals you back to full, or not to full, but you know, you heal back health after you get a kill on a drone. And I don't know if it works on just myself killing the drone or if anyone in my team can kill the drone because I've been playing solo a lot lately. But yeah, and I'm assuming it says for you and all teammates. What that means is basically just even your teammates will be able to heal you when you get a kill or when they get a kill from the drones. And drones are things that are basically robots, not the mortars and not the turrets, but just like robots. And if they get a kill, you get health back. So I would think this is going to be something that would be really useful to go for. But if you're going against the Behemoth, that's just a one enemy, and this is a kill skill basically. So kill skills are iffy for me. They're more in the mid range. I wouldn't recommend it for the first, like the best perks, but it is a good perk. Feel no pain. Relentless, cannot reach critical injury levels, and 50% injury resistance. So what injury basically is, like the injury resistance, is it doesn't make you more resistant to damage in general, but it makes you more resistant to like just being put into injury states, which makes you slower. And sometimes if you get to a critical state, which you won't be able to if you do get the critical state, it'll make it to where you have to pull your pistol out. But with Feel No Pain, you never reach critical injury levels. So that can be useful. Now, I wouldn't recommend it because, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't recommend this, but even on when I ran an assault class, I ran this a few times and I never really cared for it. Because it's easy to stem away the injury, and also with all the movement speed and health regen, you can easily just repair yourself with a bandage if you have injuries. Now, obviously, if you're playing by yourself, then Feel No Pain might be worth using because of the fact that you won't have anyone to cover you while you're repairing yourself. But I think this is more in the mid range of something you should go for. Not something you should get right away, but something you should get a little bit later on. Adrenaline. Adrenaline is really awesome for the Assault class, Panther, Assault and Panther basically. Because Panther, you're basically going to be in stealth the whole time and you're getting close quarter combat kills, you're getting stealth kills, it's just awesome. And then the Assault, it's all about basically being tanky-ish, somewhat tanky, and you'll also be able to just, get your health back over time. So adrenaline is going to help a lot with that. So it says health restore, instantly heal back some of your health, 20% reload speed, plus 40 accuracy after you get a kill. And it lasts for about 10 seconds as well. You'll see the little buff timer on the side of your screen on the bottom left corner. It's going to be like a green knife, and the timer is going to be going down. And it does help a lot when you're in the middle of combat and you're just like, oh shit, I need a health back. And if you're playing the Panther, you just go, you use your class technique ability, and then just get a quick kill and then run away. Your health will be regenerated back to full, which is really awesome. So it's something I would highly recommend getting. Now, Slim Shadow. Slim Shadow is amazing to go for as well, because you get plus 80 in stealth, making it a lot harder for you to be detected and easier for you to vanish away from enemies. And you also get a plus 10% agility, which increases your initial movement speed and making you more nimbler, which basically means when you're in crouch, you have a quicker, you have more movement speed that way. Slim Shadow on top of Sensor Hack and Adrenaline, or Sixth Sense, or Burst Forth are really good combinations. It makes like, for example, the Panther class makes you able to just be super, like a ninja basically. It makes it really easy to just get around without getting caught. So it's something I would highly recommend getting if you do choose to play as the Panther class. Even playing as a sharpshooter, it's still something I would highly recommend using. Rolling Thunder. One of the best talents or perks in the game in general is Rolling Thunder, because of the fact that your sniper rifle will get a 20% increase in its damage and a 20% increased damage against drones. Now it says lower against raid bosses, so I'm assuming like 5 or 10% damage, but regardless, it's still extra damage to drones. So you put Rolling Thunder on top of Sensor Hack, you're going to be putting out a massive amount of damage, because that's a 30% damage increase to drones in general, and 20% damage increase to your sniper rifle, and just whatever else you have, because the sharpshooter increases damage to sniper rifles anyways. So you're going to be putting out a massive amount of damage with the sniper rifle if you play the sharpshooter. Even if you don't play sharpshooter, you can play anything else, and as long as you're running a sniper, this is going to be very beneficial, but it's most beneficial on the sharpshooter class. The last one is going to be close and personal. Close and personal is one of those all-rounded perks. It's not something that you should 100% go for, but it's not something that's terrible to go for, because you do get an increase in reload speed, and your movement speed while you're aiming down sights is also increased. So running close and personal with Slim Shadow and Burst Forth can basically make you a speedy shooter type of player. You'll be able to, I think it'd be best to run it on something like the Assault or this Panther, because Panther, obviously you have the stealthiness from Slim Shadow, but close and personal will allow you to basically get a quick reload speed, and you'll also be able to move around quicker while aiming down sights. Now, that's pretty much everything, or that is obviously all of the perks that you can get in the game, and that's basically, you know, just my whole list of what is good and what isn't good, what you should go for. Now, obviously you're going to be getting all, like I said, you're going to get all these perk points eventually and later down in on the road, but yeah, I honestly think that those are going to be the best perks to go for. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain what stats you should definitely go for first before anything else. So the best stats, obviously, well, when you do start, you're going to have to choose a class, but the best things to go for first is going to be your perk slots and the MK pluses. Well, I wouldn't recommend going for the MK pluses yet until later on, because I mean, this one will require 2 points and this one requires 4. At least go for this one, because the MK pluses will increase your damage and just the bonuses on your weapon in general. Makes it a lot more powerful. But anyways, for the passive talents or the passive perks, I would recommend going for, and sorry, you're gonna hear my PS4 in the background, but the passive perks I would definitely go for first would be something like the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher can decimate drones, the behemoth's armor, making all the weak points show up, as well as putting it down into its stun phase, and better dismantle, because you can get more materials from this. The next few things I would recommend going for would be things like the speed climber, tireless, pretty much anything that has to do with stamina and speed, because stamina can be a bit of a annoyance. So having that tireless perk on top of the stamina regen is really good, because you use less and you gain more. Having that sprint speed, the sprint speed going up mountains helps, as well as the slide control. I would highly recommend going for the slide control. Probably the first perk you get that you can get would be the slide control, because of the fact that sliding down mountains without this makes it really hard and really annoying, because you can't slide far enough and you start losing control, and then you start taking damage, and it gets really annoying and you can't control it. Now with slide control, you're not able to necessarily control when you want to stop sliding or where you want to slide to, but you won't fall, you won't hurt yourself, and you can technically stop before you fall. Next would be anything that basically gives you an increase in your capacities. So your syringe capacity, your class technique capacity, your item capacities, all these would be very useful to go for, because of the fact that you're getting increased capacities in those. You want to get those. You want to make sure you can have enough room so you don't have to always go back to base and restock. And then another one I would highly recommend going for next would be the things like the technique cooldowns. Technique cooldowns, so that way you basically you can have your class techniques back a lot faster. You're looking at 20% increase in your technique cooldowns. Something I would definitely get as well. And the last ones I would get would be not this. I guess you could go with the thermal vision, but I'm not worried about it. I'm trying to find which one it was. Basically anything with the drones. So, drone mark area, drone range, and drone speed in the recon tree would be the ones I would highly recommend getting. I wouldn't worry about getting the resources detection or drone cooldown, because drone cooldown only works if your drone's being destroyed. Drone visions it's all right, but it works. Obviously, it works the same way as night visions and thermal visions, and I don't really like the night vision, thermal vision, honestly. But you know, obviously, you get points left over, so you get those. But it's not something I would go for. It's not something essential. But if you do end up playing, you know, with the drone and you need to mark your enemies, this will make it so much easier because you can spot multiple enemies with the drone range. The or not drone range, the drone mark area, the drone range, you can zoom in from a distance to see them, so it's easier for your drone to not get caught. And then drone speed makes it easier for your drone to move around. Now, obviously, you get the skill credits and you get both skill credits bonuses, but it doesn't work for your mission skills. It only works for your kills, and that one you're not really worried about getting too much. You're not going to be making skill credits from kills. You get it from selling items and completing quests. Armory upgrade is also really good, but it's not something you necessarily need to worry about going for. And that is pretty much everything that I want to go over in this video. Hopefully this helps you guys out with what to go for, what to not really worry about going for. Obviously, like I said, you're gonna end up unlocking everything in the game and have points left over. I've said this multiple, I think like 3 or 4 times, but you are gonna have it, and so you don't necessarily need to watch this video. But you know, if you just want to make sure you get all the good stuff first instead of later, then I would definitely, you know, go with whatever it is that I had mentioned. And yeah, I know it's kind of difficult because I don't have a list up on what to go for first and what not to go for first. But you know, my friend and I, it's Jordan Does, we are kind of like we're in a, I guess, a quote unquote partnership of a website that he's creating that's gonna actually help people out with, you know, beginners guides and weapons, what weapons are good, what weapons are like high tier, low tier, mid tier, etc., etc. Even stats and perks and whatnot are also going to be would be put on there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this whole video. If this helped you out, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to help you guys out to the best of my ability. If you want to see any other guides and whatnot, let me know down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to make them. That is pretty much it. This is all day one on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.